Oh my God, it's the power rankings. After what has to be my favorite week of football, maybe since we started this podcast, it's me, Dave Clarke, DK Sizzle, here with Bobby Kelly. And Bob, here's a guy that enjoys football week in, week out, shows up, loves his teammates, and just wants to be the guy recording the podcast with his friend. You know? That's my Collinsworth. What'd you think? I'm working on it.
That was good. That was pretty good. That wasn't bad. That was good.
Thanks, man.
I just knew immediately who it was. So
thank you. That's really what you're going for. This is a guy who does a Chris Collinsworth impression, and everybody seems to think they know who it is. Okay. All seriousness. I'm so fucking pumped after this week of football. This is beyond my wildest dreams. Even 2 weeks ago when I was gassing you about the Cowboys possibly making the playoffs, I didn't really mean it. I just wanted something to say on the show.
Here we are, bro.
Here we are, dude. I mean, it's a real thing. Okay. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. I have a little game for us to play at the very start, just to put us in context. I don't know if you had a chance to look over my little list of things that we were going to podcast about today, but follow along at home if you want right now. We're going to start with the coaching hot seat rankings because it leads into a broader conversation I have about what it takes to fire a coach in 2025. Context, circumstances. I made a little top 5 for you, and I'll read it out for the viewers, listeners, audience at home. I think the top 5 most likely candidates to be fired are as follows. Number 1, I think this is pretty obvious, Pete Carroll at the Raiders. Number 2, Jonathan Gannon in the Cardinals. I mean, I think he's probably going to get fired. Do we think that's fair, considering what the Cardinals are actually working with?
Because I think because Carroll's in the year 1 regime, I feel like Gannon might be number 1 above Carroll.
Fair
but
enough.
It's a mess. It's
such a mess.
But Gannon's in year 3 now, so we should have been seeing something at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Number 3, I put Raheem Morris in the Falcons. I mean, I've been saying this. I'm surprised I didn't just make the list myself. I'm surprised I didn't put him at number 1 because, I really do think the Falcons have a better roster for how they've been playing. I think you can just see week in, week out, they're just a badly coached team, and that whole QB thing. It's come on, man. Coach the kid that you drafted, for God's sake. Kevin Stefanski and the Browns. I mean, you could put a Browns guy in the top 5 hot seat in November, December area every single season for the last, I don't know, how old are we? 35 years. And Zac Taylor and the Bengals, and I might have just a personal thing with him. But he still made the cut. I also put a couple more honorable mentions. Mike McDaniel, who seems to have saved his job by winning a few games. Mike Tomlin and Jim Harbaugh. Now, Bobby, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to look at this top 5 list, including the honorable mentions. And you tell me if you had to put your hard-earned cash on the next coach fired from this list, who would you bet on? And then I'd like to have a broader conversation about the should, not the going to, if that makes sense. Tell me.
So if I had put my money down, I already kind of gave it, is Jonathan Gannon, for sure. Because like I said, this was supposed to be the year that we saw what his regime was about. It was another full year of Kyler in the system. It was Marvin Harrison Jr. with another year with Kyler. The offense is supposed to be firing on all cylinders this year, and it's just been the complete opposite. It's been absolute dog shit in Arizona from week 1. So I'd say Gannon's number 1. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think Stefanski's in that same boat. I know things have been a mess there, but I just think the way he handled the Shedeur thing was terrible.
Who could do anything there, though? I mean, I agree with you about the Shedeur thing. Because, I was saying week 1 he should just be starting, because why not? Right? Why? Based on everyone else you have in that QB room. And honestly, he's had flashes and moments. If you saw that happen for the whole season, you might know what you're working with going into next season. But I agree with you. But who can do anything? Stefanski, I feel a little bit bad for. I felt bad for every Browns coach of the last 15 years, to be honest, at least.
I'm curious to see if a late season resurgence from the Bengals saves Zac Taylor's job again.
Because you know what the difference between the Bengals playing shit and the Bengals not playing shit is? It's not. It's Joe Burrow. It's not Zac fucking Taylor, to be 100% real with you. Joe Burrow came in and played with such a swagger upon his return. Such a swagger.
Yeah,
That it was
pretty
like,
awesome to watch, man.
it was
Great
like,
to watch Joe Burrow
why
play. I
are
love
we
it.
missing this guy all the time? Like, why? It just sucks. Like, it absolutely sucks when he's not playing. The league is better for him playing football. And to go out and beat a divisional opponent like that, like really smack him, it just goes to show, like, Burrow, I think it has basically kept Zac Taylor's job despite terrible, terrible head coaching for the last 3 seasons. Burrow keeps him in there. You can see it when he walked back into the team. You can see it. You can see it and clear as day why Zac Taylor hasn't been fired yet.
The reason I think Taylor might not be able to save it, though, is because it's been the same goddamn thing for 2 straight years now.
This is Zac Taylor. This is the Zac Taylor Bengals. You know what you're getting.
It's literally been a great offense that even with Flacco, he's able to put up 40 points any given week. However, the defense is literally also able to give up 40 points on any given fucking week. And usually that shit happens on the same goddamn week.
Yeah.
And they just happen to give up 45.
This is the identity of the team.
You know, like, so, it is what it is with them. So I feel like that might not save his job. Honestly, bro, I feel like a few of these people on this list might end up losing their job. Because...
Did I forget anybody? I was thinking about putting, what's his name, the Jets head coach.
I feel like they're going to keep Glenn. They're going to keep Glenn. Yeah. Kellen Moore staying. McDonald staying, probably. Yeah. Things are really bad in Tennessee, though. I mean, we'll see if they get another win.
They're terrible.
Yeah, they're really bad.
Terrible.
It's really bad in Tennessee. But no, I think that pretty much... I feel like Morris might keep his job because, I don't know. It's been bad there for 2 straight years now. So that's what I mean. Everyone on this list might lose it, bro. Stefanski might be out. Morris might be out. 100%
I gotta tell you, man,
Gannon's out. I don't know about Carroll, though. I feel like Carroll might keep it.
Maybe. We'll see. I
honestly...
They
already fired Chip Kelly, so...
Yeah. The more interesting thing about this list, in my opinion, is the honorable mentions. Outside of Mike McDaniel, who just seems to have like been able to put it together enough to save his job, so whatever. I think we should have a larger conversation about Tomlin and Harbaugh. I mean, Tomlin, I've been advocating for the fact that he's like a provably good football coach for many years now at this point. I don't think he's going to go under 500 again this year. I think he's probably going to win. If you look at their schedule, I did it with Leah last night. I did our little game of just like looking down the pipe and seeing where their wins and losses are. And we came to the conclusion he's probably going to be over 500 again. But at this point, if you're a Steelers fan or if you're a Ravens fan, you know what you're getting. And thereabouts really isn't doing it for you anymore. I mean, even more so than Tomlin. I look at Harbaugh and I'm like, you're going to waste it. You're going to waste the years you had with Lamar Jackson. You've never even made it to a Super Bowl, and you've had a top 3 guy for like however many years. I mean, it seems like an unfair standard to set, but it kind of isn't at the same time. Like, when you have one of the best 3 or 4 QBs in the league for a 5-year period, you expect them to at least make one Super Bowl, no? And to me, I just, year in, year out, Mike's whole take about Lamar sucks in the playoffs. It's like we have to at least see a guy of his talent in a different regime. I mean, Harbaugh's never been an offensive mastermind by any stretch of the imagination. And I think that if you get one of these more, I mean, I hate to say it, I don't mean to age shame Harbaugh. He's not even that old. It's just for how long he feels like he's been in the league. Don't you sort of feel like it might even be best for both parties, for both of these coaches to go somewhere else and to just try something else in both of these places? I mean, I think in Pittsburgh, you're kind of only left with a fire sale. You're paying TJ Watt that much money, and he's had like 4 games where he's had like 1 pressure, and it was the sack on Fields that causes the touchdown, which really, if you look at it, was probably, or not Fields, wow, Williams, which causes the touchdown. And if you look at it, it's probably Caleb's fault. Like, you probably shouldn't be dicking around in the end zone with the ball. So whatever. So, you're probably going to want to have a fire sale in Pittsburgh. Honestly, you're going to try and get some draft picks, bring in a new regime, and just see what you can do, start building. I know that that's not the Pittsburgh way, but the Pittsburgh way has essentially got you middling at this point. You don't want to be middling, right? In Pittsburgh, you guys have pedigree. Everybody hates you for a reason because you won a ton of times. There's somebody from each generation that fucking despises you because at least once generation, those guys win a Super Bowl, right? I don't feel that bad for the fan base because if you're, over 25, you've probably seen 2 Super Bowls. But it is what it is. I obviously don't want my wife to be upset, but again, like she's seen them win 2 Super Bowls in her lifetime, so whatever. It's probably time to clean house there. I think you could probably take the as-is Ravens with a new regime and see what you got. You don't have to make a ton of changes to that Ravens roster. You just get somebody that has a really good plan in and can make a really dynamic offense because Lamar keeps shitting the bed. Like he keeps shitting the bed. Either start regular season like this season, or one good playoff game, one bad, trick or treat. You have to put him in an offense where he has the tools to succeed because the talent's obviously there. I'm just more inclined to blame the offense and what's going on there. And what we've seen from Harbaugh is I think we've come to the conclusion that he's not going to win a Super Bowl with Lamar, so maybe we should try somebody else. Is that unfair considering his pedigree?
No, I don't think so. I feel like it kind of boils down to like the same thing we were talking about with Taylor, where it's like the same holes are always there.
This is the
identity in the offense.
This is who they
are.
The
same
goddamn
right. Yeah. It's the same thing with every year, where it's like a run-based offense that's all centered around Lamar's legs. You even brought in Henry to bring in like that extra running back, and that couldn't even get you over the hump.
But they went all in on him too. I mean, they're all in on this roster. They have to do something now, and I think like some fresh ideas, at least on the offensive side of the ball, are probably all you got.
And it's like they build it the same way every year. They even did this back in the day when Lamar first got here, but like they tried to revamp the wide receiver core. But it's the same thing where they try and just do like these short, shifty, speedy wide receivers and try and build everything around Lamar and not actually have like an over-the-top passing attack. It's all, you know what I mean? It's all options. It's all on the move shit, which is great, right? Which is great. But eventually, bro, you can't. You gotta go over the top. You got to do more things with that offense. You know what I mean? There's got to be way more to it.
Damning. I think it's damning of their opinion of the quarterback that they have because I think that their QB has that. I think he can be that guy. I think he can. Yeah. I think that Lamar, perennial, often MVP, most valuable player in the league, Lamar Jackson. I think he's got the ability to have a season where he can do literally everything. You watch him run an offense, get out of the huddle properly, scramble really well when plays break down, scramble when designed, pass over the middle well, check down properly, throw the ball away properly, don't take bad sacks. I think he has a deep ball if you had somebody to go catch it. I mean, I think Zay Flowers is great, but that's not the kind of wide receiver that he is. I think they thought they were going to make Isaiah Likely into that guy, right? Like you'll watch him like run go routes and you're like, guys, he's a tight end. I don't really know what to do.
He's not even that fast or that good.
Yeah, I don't really understand what we're doing here. I like the addition of Derrick Henry. I just think I do think it makes them scary, but and obviously we saw last year that it did, but sometimes you can add a Derrick Henry player and it's like almost feels like a luxury, like maybe we should have done something a little bit differently with the receiving core and like really gone all in on Lamar. I get the idea of like, oh well, we're trying to say that we're not relying on him to run. We want him to be our quarterback, but I don't know. That always seems like that's Harbaugh thinking, right? Like that's why we're in this situation because the decisions are his ultimately, aren't they?
Yeah, and I just think that we've kind of been calling Harbaugh as one of the more overrated coaches in the league for a couple of years now because it's been the same ending every time, and like, in the end, when it comes down to underachieving teams that have great quarterbacks and good coaches, 99.9% of the time, if you don't get the job done, the guy that's going to get the blame first and probably be out of town is the coach.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you have the same ending for all these years, more often than not, you're picking the quarterback.
Yeah.
And Baltimore already did pick Lamar, not over Harbaugh, but they already, they had a chance to move off of Lamar a couple of years ago and no one in the fucking league wanted him, which is insane. But yeah. I think they choose Lamar in the end, and we see what
I
else
would.
he's got. You have to. Yeah, for sure. 100%.
I mean, I've watched him play football. He's really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Not to oversimplify it or anything. Moving on to our teams. No, we're not moving on to our teams. We're going to talk about our teams when we get to the best teams in the league. All three represented teams on this larger sports
with like
podcast.
an asterisk kind of. Yeah.
No, we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to make a case. Yeah, all three teams that we try to represent on this podcast, just based on the members, the Patriots, the Cowboys, and the Bears are going to be in the top 10 conversation today, at the very least, even if we haven't solidified number 10 yet. So let's move on to the crossout. So far, Bobby, we've this is depressing me. We've crossed off the Jets, the Titans, the Saints, the Dolphins, who have won 5 games, which is a little scary, but not that scary. The Browns.
They've done this multiple times to us. We crossed them off, and they just win a bunch of games at the end of the year.
Yeah, but then like they stay crossed off. It's coming. It's gonna get cold soon. If it's not already in some of the places they have to go. The Raiders, the Cardinals, the Giants, the Commanders. Honorable mention though in the crossout section to the Commanders putting on what was my favorite game of the season so far as a neutral.
That was really fun. Yeah,
last night's Sunday night game, finally shaking off the horrible juju that the Cowboys-Packers tie put on Sunday Night Football. There hasn't been one good Sunday Night Football game since that night, which I think that's well deserved. I think if you tie a game in the National Football League, you should curse that time slot for like at least a few weeks. I think we all should like think about what we did and make sure that nothing like that ever happens again in prime time, Bobby, if you know anybody in Dallas that you can talk to. But the Commanders,
bullshit too.
I know the Commanders and the Broncos put on a great game yesterday, and we won't talk about the Broncos yet, but it actually gave me something to think about with them. Possible cross-offs. The list has been rejiggered a little bit. There's some surprising names perhaps in there, but we're going to have to talk about it. The Falcons, the Vikings, the Bengals, the Steelers, and the Chiefs are the 5 teams on the chopping block today. I'm ready to cross off the Falcons and the Vikings, and we can have a brief conversation. I think we sort of did a longer talk about the Falcons last week. I think we can probably eulogize the Vikings at this point, right? I don't know how much
season is over.
Yeah,
it's done.
Yeah.
Max Brosmer isn't getting the job done, bro.
Yeah. 0 points against the Seahawks. The Seahawks came out and fucking dominated. If you're the Seahawks defense in your fantasy league this week, I imagine you won by 60 points. And the Vikings looked absolutely atrocious. I think we were too early on saying they had a good head coach. Is that really unfair? Because the Vikings are in my division, so I love to
KOC. I mean, yeah, man. I don't know. With how Sam Darnold is looking this year, I feel like you can't, because last year it was happening. A lot of people were giving a lot of the credit to the coach, and they were like, "Oh, Darnold's just in the system now."
I mean, yourself included.
Quarterback. We were right. We were on, for sure. But I feel like with Darnold this year and seeing what JJ McCarthy actually looks like, and like that was supposed to be his guy, and he's just absolutely fucking garbage. Like JJ McCarthy is not a good quarterback, and it's not like McCarthy is even being put in a position to look like he can even be a game manager. Like there's no semblance of anything going on in Minnesota at this point. So, when the number 1 wide receiver in the league, you can't game plan to get more than what do you have, 3 yards on Sunday? I think he had 3 yards per receiver. So yeah, it's pretty bad, man.
Jefferson
it's pretty
apparently left the building without talking to the media, which is not common for him. And he's also apparently got a calf strain, which in my opinion is an injury you can just say you have.
Yep.
And they're going to get worried about it because the Achilles tear have just been running through professional sports leagues for the last few years. So you can't, if it's the NBA, like it's an absolute siren. If you have a calf strain, you can't send them out there to get Jason Tatum, right? Like to get Kevin Durant to watch that string snap in the back of their leg. So that's what I would say if I didn't want to play any more games for the Minnesota Vikings. Adam Thielen asking to leave is a depressing turn of events. Like, I mean, they traded 2 picks. I think it was like a 5th round and a 6th round pick to get him back from Carolina. And then week 11, he was like, "Can I go somewhere else, please?" And they like waived him because he asked. That's fucking crazy. Like, that's so crazy. I kind of feel bad on one hand for Adam Thielen, but also like, geez, the Vikings have just imploded. Like that organization has just gone from bad to worse just over the course of one season. I don't know, man. What do you think?
It's really bad. It's really bad. No, it's really bad in Minnesota right now. Really bad. That performance alone, like if they weren't 4-8 coming off their starting quarterback looking like shit, that performance alone is cross-off worthy. It's really, really bad in Minnesota. There's nothing positive to say about them. It really isn't. Because even when their starting quarterback was in, they were still absolutely garbage. So it's not like there's any redeeming qualities to anything that's happening in Minnesota right now. You went from a team that was 15-2 last year, right? 15-2. Isn't that what they finished? 15-2.
Yeah, I think they won 15
We're at
games.
worst 14-3,
and they shit the playoffs with Darnold, and it was like,
yeah.
move on from him.
But still, and then to this in the next season, like that's a really
14-3
bad drop off, man. That's rough.
14-3 they were.
14-3.
Yeah.
First time they were shut out since 2007.
I know, but I mean, getting shut out like that, it was so bad. It just like there was just a lot of scrambling. Then on the sidelines, like just didn't seem like anybody had a plan to do anything. But then again, like people are saying, like, oh, should Kevin O'Connell give up play calling? And it's like, well, I think it's pretty clearly a personnel issue. It's like, I mean, sure, he could give up play calling if he wants, but I don't know. Like, I don't know if Ben Johnson could come in there and call plays for either of those QBs. To be honest with you, like that's. Oof, yikes.
It's really bad.
You should have a good. You should have.
So they're both crossed. 100%. 100%. They're both crossed.
Okay, I'm crossing them. You should really have a good backup QB.
What were you gonna say?
Sure. Just
have a backup. It doesn't even have to.
Yeah.
Just have.
Yeah. I mean, I was saying that watching Mason Rudolph on Sunday. It was like, what is he good? Like he's so bad. Like he can't do anything. He throws this like sideline ball that literally gets picked like 75% of the time that he throws it. It's like it's the one day shot right jumped up for against the
Speaking of bad quarterbacks, have you seen the video, like the short that's like breaking down all of Geno Smith's interceptions so far this year of which ones are his fault and which ones aren't?
They're all his fault.
Every single one of them is his fault. It's so funny, man. It's so funny because they're all so bad. He's like, all right, we got this one. We got redeeming yourself right here. No, double coverage.
I have seen those videos where they do a little counter where it's like his fault, not his fault.
Yeah. I think the final score was he has 13 this year. I think it was 12-1.
Oof, that's rough. He has looked like shit, and he's what, the fourth highest paid QB or fifth highest paid QB?
Yeah, I think he's fourth. Yeah,
that's awful. Bengals we talked about. I'm not crossing them off after watching Joe Burrow.
Burrow's back. We can keep him.
The Steelers, just because the Ravens lost, like if the Ravens had just screeched past the Steelers, like we thought they might, but because they lost interdivisionally, and if we're not crossing the Bengals off, we can't really cross the Steelers off, right? I genuinely think I can make a case to cross off the Kansas City Chiefs.
We're not crossing the Chiefs off.
I don't think they're going to make the playoffs.
Well, I don't think so either, but.
So isn't that what crossing them off means? Isn't that the definition of why we cross them off?
No, crossing them off is definitely not making the playoffs. Like 100% not making the playoffs. Then we cross them.
Okay, can we at least just take a look at their schedule and just actually game it out? Because I think I can prove it right here, and I think it would be really cool to cross them off this early at 6-6. They're going to lose to the Texans. The Texans look legitimately good. I don't think C.J. Stroud is as good as we thought he was in his rookie year, and I think that's pretty much the case. But I think that they have a really good defense. I think Will Anderson is making a case for Defensive Player of the Year, to be honest with you. Junior, sorry. Not trying to disrespect Will Anderson Sr. I think he's making a case for being potentially Defensive Player of the Year. Every time I see the Texans play, he's a huge standout on the defensive side of the ball. He's one of those guys. He's officially arrived as one of those guys that can disrupt your entire offense, right? I think they're better than their record, and I think they're going to beat the Chiefs on Sunday, and I just wanted to be a week early to this conversation because after this week, once they beat the Chiefs, everyone's going to want to talk about the Texans. So I do think that we should talk about them, but we're talking about the Chiefs right now. Chiefs lose to the Texans. That makes them 6-7. Then they lose to the Chargers. That makes them 6-8. Then they beat the Titans, which makes them 7-8. Then they lose to the Broncos, which makes them 7-9. Then they beat the Raiders, which makes them 8-9, which means they don't enter the playoffs. Now, you have to turn, and I shit you not, because if you look at the AFC, say even just their division, right? The teams above them are 8-4 and 10-2. Okay, you with me? I put them at 8-9. You would have to, no joke, in their next 5 games, convince me that they're not only just going to beat the Texans, but they're also going to beat the Chargers and the Broncos. Because if they don't win out, they're not making the playoffs. So you have to sit there and in order for me to think that they have even a remote possibility of making the playoffs, they have to win all 5 games, and you have to convince me that they're going to do that. And I don't see how that's possible. I just think we should skip to the part where we cross them off.
But if we cross them off the week after Cowboys got their biggest win of the year, it diminishes that big win we just have. We can't unless you're over the cross offense, which is kind of cool. But I don't know. It feels preemptive to me. Yeah. We already did it once, and now that team is in the fucking power rankings. Now that team is in the power rankings. So
okay. But to be fair, here's why that was different. When we went to cross them off, they were the 7th seed, the Jags. So it was really dumb to cross off a team that was in playoff seeding. The Chiefs are right now 10th, below the Texans, the Colts, teams in their division, the Chargers, the Bills, the Bengals are surging, the Texans, the Steelers. I said these teams already. The Jags, who could lose a few games, they're 3rd right now. That's not going to stay. The Jags most likely for the 7th seed now at this point. The way the rest of the next 5 weeks are going to shake out. I don't think that the Chiefs are going to make the playoffs, Bob. I think we should cross them off. It would be so exciting.
If they lose to the Texans, we'll cross them off.
Okay. I think they're going to.
We'll meet in the middle. If they lose to the Texans, they're out.
All right.
Because if they beat the Texans, they could beat the Chargers.
Okay. I guess that makes sense.
We'll give them 1 week.
They have the ability to beat all these teams. I just don't think they have the ability to beat all these teams. And I think that's what they need to do to get to the playoffs. Anybody else pertinent in that possible crosshouse you want to talk about that could go? I don't think so.
No, that's it.
Okay. Honorable mentions. The Chargers.
Sorry to burst your bubble.
You can burst my bubble. I understand. That's why we talk about it. It's not totally up to me. I just thought it'd be fun to throw out there. But next week, we're fucking crossing them off. If they go under 500 with 4 games left, we're crossing them off.
Yeah, they're out. Yeah, agreed.
Chargers are 8-4. Texans are 7-5. Bucks are 7-5. Panthers are 7-6. Ravens are 6-6. That is our honorable mentions list. Only because we haven't decided on the 10th spot in the power rankings yet. It's between the Cowboys, the Packers, the Eagles, and the Colts. So let's talk about these honorable mentions. The Chargers, they beat the Raiders. That's nothing special. We'll talk about the Chargers once we get down the stretch a little bit more. I think the win against the Colts is huge for the Texans. And if they go back-to-back Colts-Chiefs, I think they're, like, for instance, let me give you a for instance. I would have asked Mike and or Ray this question if they were on the show tonight, but put yourself in a position. You're in the AFC. You're the Patriots. With how the Texans have been playing, are they not an absolute nightmare first game matchup for you if you're a Patriots fan? Like, you do not want to see the Texans. I don't think that they have the best QB in the matchup between May and Stroud, but on the defensive side of the ball, they've kind of been there, right? There's a little bit of where we're going to be behind schedule if we don't like do something like beat the Pats in this first round. Is the Pats record a little bit inflated, even though I think that they're good? Is their record a little bit inflated to the point where it's more the game itself, if they see each other in the playoffs, has more parity than perhaps their records indicate? And I don't know how much the Pats would really be favored by. I think they'd be favored, but absolute nightmare matchup. No, if you're a Patriots fan, like they look like the boogeyman to me if I'm in the AFC.
Yeah, agreed. Especially because they're so predicated off their defense right now. Like you said, it's all off game record. Like Andrew said, what's the Pats' number one weakness right now is the offensive line. That's what it's been all year. It's better lately for sure.
But now the whole left side's hurt. I mean, let's see tonight against the Giants with that real front seven. This could be an absolute blow-up game for the Pats. I have my eye on it because, like I said, nobody beats the Giants easily. Everybody beats them, but no one beats them easily. And I think the Patriots with their offensive line decimated that already wasn't playing that well, with a quarterback who's been playing great but does have a tendency to take sacks and more specifically strip sacks over the course of this season and part of last. that front seven could do some shit tonight, and all of a sudden you're looking at like, oh God, are the wheels going to come off? It would still be a successful season for the Patriots, obviously, but now they're in a position where they might see a boogeyman team, you know?
Agreed. Yeah, no, I really like the Texans. I think that was a huge win. Also looking at this grouping here, the team that is the biggest boogeyman team of the year, or not boogeyman, the biggest trick-or-treat team of the entire year is the Carolina Panthers, man. I don't know what the fuck they are.
Yeah, who are they?
They've had such good, they've had such good wins, and
do they play to their
followed
competition?
up, which is
are they that?
They really because they go from being a good team to beat. I don't want to call the Cowboys a good team, but they're in the top 10 now, so potentially.
Yeah, that loss isn't looking so bad for you guys, honestly. At this point.
They beat them. And now this week they come out and beat the fucking Rams. I mean, it was a great game, but Bryce Young, man, I don't know what he does every week. If he just like comes out and he's like, all right, this week I know how to play quarterback, because he just goes from, it's night and day, man, from one week to the next. Like last week he looked like absolute dog shit against the Niners. He was awful. And then this week he comes out and has one of the best games of his career. He's had multiple games this year over 350 yards. That's fucking crazy. Crazy.
I have to agree. All right. Bucks feels like the wheels. Well, actually, you know what? Real quick, I just want to let you know the Texans schedule: Chiefs, Cardinals, Raiders, Chargers, Colts.
Yeah, so there's 3 in a row right there. If they can get past the Chiefs this week.
If they get past the Chiefs, it's 2 in a row after that. So 3 in a row all in, and then 2 hard games at the end. We'll see. Okay. The Buccaneers. Damn, the wheels are coming off their season. I do think they have an easy game coming up, though, right? Who are they playing? They're playing
the Saints. Yeah.
Okay. So and this could get them back on track, right?
Yeah.
Are you disappointed about the Buccaneers season sort of taking a shit during their hard stretch?
I am, because I really like them. I thought they were one of the funner teams at the beginning of the year. But what the fuck are you going to do, man? Literally the entire team got hurt. It started with Evans.
Yeah.
Godwin never got healthy.
All the way to Baker.
You know what I mean? He was supposed to be coming back, and now Baker's hurt. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it started out so fun with Ibuka coming up those first few weeks, and Baker looked awesome. He was talking shit to fans walking out and stuff. Yeah, no, it was great.
Baker's a gamer was the siren song of our group chat as every week, where they would come back and win last minute games, and just Baker, that third and long where he ran. You remember that was like, what was that, week 3? That third and long where he was just
the truck stick, bro. Yeah,
dogging it to the first down, just dragging victory out of the jaws of defeat on a weekly basis, just coming for everybody. And then starting with that Patriots loss, I think everything really just sort of fell apart. And I do think if Baker can come back and be at 100%, they always have a chance, to be honest. But it does sort of suck. I mean, they have a bright future after this season. Don't get me wrong. They just need to get everybody healthy and get some stuff figured out. They have their guy, which, you know, as we know, is really the thing that you need to have. Just have your guy, and then we can figure everything else out, right? But this season, I don't know. Let's take a look at their schedule and see what kind of.
It's kind of sad that this is probably the end of. I mean, it's definitely the end of him being at least a 1. Evans is definitely out this year in Tampa, I think.
Yeah.
With the Buka emergence, it just feels like it's set up for that trade where they trade Evans after the long career in Tampa for like a 4th round pick. You know what I mean?
I know. It sucks. I'd take him for a 4th round pick. For the record, if anyone's listening, we have too many wide receivers. It's fine. So in their division, they're 7-5. Panthers are 7-6. Falcons and Saints aren't a factor anymore. I think the Panthers could potentially win this division. Their fate's at least in their hands because they play the Bucs twice. The Buccaneers have the Saints, the Falcons, the Panthers, the Dolphins, and then the Panthers again. So realistically, with the exception of those 2 Panthers games, they've got 3 wins kind of in the bag, I think. If Baker, it definitely continued on Baker. But even if they split with the Panthers, they win the division, right? Panthers aren't going to win out. I mean, I know it looks like parity now, but I still have the Bucs to win this division. So we're at least going to be talking about them in the postseason, and maybe we shouldn't overreact to a few kind of tough losses, like you said, off the back of injuries. I guess we'll see. Anything to add about Panthers, Bucs, any of those teams? We talked about the Ravens in the context of Mr. Harbaugh. I'm ready to get into the power rankings if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so like I said, we couldn't decide on a number 10. So we're going to talk about it. Maybe the viewers can yell some stuff back in time to us. The Cowboys, the Packers, the Eagles, and the Colts were all potential number 10 teams. I'd like to make a case that it's the Dallas Cowboys. I'll tell you why. I think it has a 50% chance of being the only opportunity they have to get into the power rankings this year, and they might stay there, but the Lions game is a loser leaves town match. Change my mind.
It's a loser leaves town, like out of the power rankings. Like they're not.
Neither team should. I mean, I couldn't believe the Lions were 7th. To be honest with you, like they've not looked good.
Yeah, they were higher last week and they were on a bye week. So, or I mean, and were they on a bye
No,
week?
they lost.
No,
they lost.
They lost to the Packers. That's right. Yeah, they probably should be lower. You're probably right.
I think that neither team should be on the power rankings next week if they lose to the other.
Okay, that's fair. The reason I put them here is because Mike was like, "Are all 3 teams on the power rankings?" And it was like, bro, I understand why people would think it. And listen, that was the best win we've had all year, 100%. We look great. Defense looks awesome. And this is 3 weeks in a row, pretty much since we got Quinnen. Defense pretty much turned around since that week. Quinnen Williams has been the best D tackle in the NFL since we got him, which is just amazing. Have you seen his PFF stats? It's unbelievable, bro.
I don't really subscribe to PFF stats, to be honest with you. Sometimes they're really stupid. Whereas I watch the game and I'm like, no. That's like your PFF score shouldn't be that. I watch the game. That's so stupid.
He's by far number 1 in pressures, like every stat across the board since we acquired him.
Good.
I think he had 13 pressures in 3 weeks, and he had 4 in the first 8 weeks with the Jets, which is just amazing. Dak looked like a fucking dog. He looks like an absolutely. He looks like a top 10 quarterback. He is now definitely above Hurts as the best quarterback in that division.
I mean, I think
Daniels this year has been.
Mike didn't think so, but we thought that already.
Yeah. I thought that was his best performance of the year, especially down the stretch, because I said this to you. I think it was either last week or 2 weeks ago. Dak's at his best, man, when he's moving around. He doesn't need to be mobile. He doesn't need to be, you know what I mean, actually gaining yards on the ground. But when he's moving around and he's using his feet to escape out of the pocket, and his pocket presence is at a different level, like he is absolutely a top 10 quarterback when he's at that top of his game. Like when he's making plays like he did on that 2-point conversion where he feels that rush off his backside, does that spin move around the defender, and hits the guy for the 2-point conversion. Like, bro, that's Dak at his top level. And then he scored that touchdown, scrambling out to the left. Like, I don't know. The way Dak's playing is why I think that they are on the same list as these 4. I think the team that is probably should get the number 10 is probably the Packers because of the way the other 2 are looking. So for everyone, I think we already said this, the Cowboys, Packers, Eagles, and the Colts. Cowboys are a tough sell because it's 8-3-1, 8-4, 8-4, and then 6-5-1. So they're a full game and a half behind each of these teams.
But they're streaking.
They're streaking. So they're going in the other direction of at least 2 of the 3.
Yeah, the Colts and Eagles are coming off losses. The Packers have won, just beat the Lions, Eagles, but they haven't looked good doing it. Like the Lions game was the best they've looked in the last 5 wins.
Yeah. But the Eagles and the Colts, they're 2 losses, so they both lost 2 in a row. Colts are now out of first place. The Jaguars are in first place ahead of them. With the way the season started with the Colts, I feel like it's exactly what you specifically said was going to happen, where we're getting this late season swoon. Daniel Jones is looking like Daniel Jones now 2 weeks in a row.
Come on, we've seen this before. I don't have a crystal ball. We've just seen this before. You know, this is what they look like.
If Jonathan Taylor isn't scoring 3 touchdowns, the Colts aren't at that level like they have been. It's just very clear. You know what I mean? Like if he's not the MVP running back, but you know, right. The Eagles, They just might be straight up mediocre at this point. Like, I don't want to.
Now we're
No. I don't want to.
wins, are
Listen, I don't want to swoon on both of our teams' pretty much best win of the season so far. But that offense is atrocious.
Yeah,
it's really bad in Philly. And I think it's so clear that there's just so many chemistry issues on that offense because
they
now
just look so miserable. Like they were down 7, and
that's what I mean. It's so
and
bad,
the body language on the sideline basically told me that the Bears were going to win because the fans immediately. I just want to say, Philadelphia Eagles fans, you are, and I know you know this already, so this isn't news to you. You are by far and away the worst fan base in sports. You are the worst fan base in sports, and I really think you need to start to try to turn it around. You just threw rocks at your offensive coordinator's house, and videotaped it. First of all, don't videotape your crimes. That's kind of rule number 1. Rule number 2.
That's number 1.
His family's in there. Don't throw rocks at his fucking house, you pieces of shit. Good God. People give us shit.
What is this fucking Remember the Titans?
Give me a break, guys. Honestly, you're booing your team when they're down 7. When they're down 7, I admit it. We were kicking the shit out of them, and I mean that in a physicality sense. I think the Bears did walk in and just start throwing them around, which I really appreciated watching, considering they basically won a Super Bowl based on how physical they were as a team and how strong their offensive line was. To go out and do that to them felt great, but they're down 7 points, guys, and the body language on the sidelines, no one's talking to each other. And they were like, oh, to be fair, this is how Jalen Hurts looks if they're up 20 or if they're down 20. And it's okay, that's not great, guys. that's not a good sign. I mean, I have the same criticism of Jordan Love. I want my QB to be pissed. I want my QB to be fucking furious if they're down and they're not executing on offense. I want to see the emotion. Honestly, I really do. You always saw it from Brady, and everybody was like, oh, what a leader. You see it from Caleb Williams, people are like, oh, he's too emotional. He cries, but, whatever. I understand that there are disparities, unfairness across the league, but come on, guys. Don't boo your team when you're down a touchdown. In the first quarter. They started booing them in the first quarter, Bobby. I was like, this is the worst fan base in sports. That was the only thing I could actually think when I heard that. It's a terrible look, Eagles fan base. It's a terrible look.
It's really bad. It's been bad for a while. It's bad. Listen, they booed. They threw snowballs at fucking Santa Claus. I mean, what fucking assholes? Who does that? Who does that shit? Who does that shit?
What is wrong with you guys? What is in the water there that makes you all just such terrible human beings? I don't understand. Good God, it's cold in other places, man.
But yeah, it's really bad.
For that reason, I don't think they should be in the power rankings, honestly.
So they're not going to be because it's just when you have a wide receiver who begs for the ball and then you feed him 2 weeks in a row and your offense looks like absolute
To be fair, he
shit.
did catch, did he catch 2 touchdown passes? Yeah.
2 touchdowns, yes. But they still look like shit. You know what I mean? You still have your star wide receiver going off now, and you've lost both those fucking games.
I know.
So it's okay.
I think it sort of puts to bed that I know that Jalen Hurts 1, 2.
Jalen Hurts is not good. Yeah, he's not good.
I'm just going by the eye test,
Yeah. They won because of Saquon. That's why they won. 100%.
Not that game though. He
didn't. The Super Bowl. They're not that they won that game because of the defense, but they got there because of it. Without that, the offense just isn't the same. They still have a really good defense. They still have a very good front seven. They're still going to be game wreckers on an occasional basis and win games for you. It's going to happen. But at the same time, you can't expect that offense to come out and win games for you. It's not going to be. If the Eagles go down 21-3, that game is fucking over.
Yeah,
it's over. You know what I mean? There's not a chance in hell that Jalen Hurts is going to lead a comeback through the air. It's just not going to happen, man. It's not like in the days, bro. I'll never forget. I know I talk about these days of the Cowboys era very highly, but when Tony Romo was down 21-3, bro, that's when he knew the game was on because that's when the airstrike was coming out, bro. That's when he was at his best, bro. Yeah. Right? So it's that's not coming with Jalen Hurts. There's not a fucking chance. So I just don't see how you can call him.
Team.
Yeah, I just don't think
playing him
see how you can call him a top 12 quarterback at this point because he doesn't have that in his game anymore. He just doesn't. He did it at certain points, man. He was able to put up numbers. He was able to get 350 in a game. He was able to air it out. But it just doesn't seem like
do you remember what
that's what it is
remember
anymore.
what airing it out looked like for him though? Like there was a lot of like very unlikely looking catches. Don't you think?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember him just like humming it to the sideline, and like AJ Brown would just be like, "Fuck it, I'll go get it," because he's so good. I mean, if we're talking QB rankings, do you want to talk about it just real quick? Because I'm going based on, and this is purely based on 2025. This is the 2025 season. I'm calling the top 3 QBs: Stafford, May, and Prescott.
For this year?
For just this year. Just this year alone. This is the only thing we're talking about. Then I think Josh Allen, only because he's been a little trick or treat. Like I thought he looked pretty good against the Steelers, but a little inconsistent. If you think about if you just look at his numbers, I mean, I think 18-9 is like pretty good for where you are right now, but Dak's at 23-7. So just straight up, it's just
without Dak, the Cowboys are, if the Cowboys had an average quarterback this year, they had 3 wins at most.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you put Trevor Lawrence on the Cowboys, or if you put a fucking Jalen Hurts on the Cowboys, bro, the Cowboys have 3-4 wins at max.
Yeah, and then you're probably putting after Allen, you're probably still putting Baker, right? Like, I mean, he was in the MVP conversation.
Baker, and then I feel like we can even have the Caleb talk after that. I feel like Caleb's not far behind. He's at least. So I feel like because of the early, I mean, it was mostly Jonathan Taylor. Which actually Sam Darnold is probably after that.
It's probably Darnold after that, and then it's
Darnold after that. Yeah, you think?
I mean, I know that because I know the Chiefs, and I'm again just this year, but I know the Chiefs have underperformed. But if you think about it, he's 18 pass TDs, 7 interceptions, 4 rushing TDs. I know he's not playing up to the standard, but there's still been some pretty Mahomesy games, right, where he's moving around and he's dunking it down and he's making plays and he's still like because if you look at it in just 2025, if you don't take his other context, you kind of still have, because in the context of Pat Mahomes, you probably knock him down, because he's sort of a victim of his own success. We've talked about that a lot on this show, teams or players. I think if you just look at 2025, he's still in there. He's still a top 8 QB. So I think I'd put him in there. It'd be tough for me to put Daniel Jones because of the Jonathan Taylor
Goff
thing.
Is there.
I'd say Goff is there. I'd say Herbert's thereabouts.
Herbert's been very trick or treat, but I think he's there. Yeah.
But we still haven't gotten to Jalen Hurts, right? Like I don't think Jalen Hurts is there yet.
He's still not even in the conversation. I still think you put, even with the shitty season so far, you still put Jordan Love ahead of him.
Yeah, probably like Lamar for when he's played. I don't know. Maybe he hasn't looked good.
No, you can't. I don't think you can put Lamar. Lamar hasn't looked great.
All right, I'll take Caleb after that then.
I'll take Caleb above Hurts 100%. 100%.
Well, I think the big thing that sticks out with Caleb is 16 touchdowns, 4 picks. Like I think that's the really big sort of stat that jumps out to me when you look at Caleb Williams. And on the eye test, obviously I watch him in detail every week, and then I rewatch all his throws. I mean, that's sort of where we are. But to me, it's like he hasn't done that well in the Eagles game. You and I are talking, we're like, wow, thank God for this running game. They're just running all over the Eagles. I'm like, I don't think Caleb's performed well at all. I just don't think his accuracy has been there. And there are accuracy issues there. Like you can't run away from that. But then you go, and then we're in the middle of this conversation with this exact context. You're agreeing with me, and then he throws probably the best throw of the game to Cole Kmet for the touchdown. Where he just
bro.
He looks off, and if you look at it from the back angle, I don't know if you've seen it from the angle from the end zone. He looks off the check down, and the way he has to shape his body to throw it, to drop it into the breadbasket like that, beautiful, absolutely beautiful throw. Like one of his best throws of the season, to be honest, in a game where he otherwise didn't really play that well, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty happy with Caleb Williams. I think the passing game of the Bears is about to see some elevation, right? Because Johnson alluded to some stuff before the bye week about the running game, and I think he's gonna, he's like, the passing game isn't where we want it to be, and I mean, that to me, we're 9-3. It's like, if you dial in the passing game, I'm having serious title conversations about this team at this point. You know what I mean? I don't know. They're number 2 on the power rankings. We've ranked the
So
QBs.
before we see it, who gets number 10? Who gets number 10?
Here's what I honestly think we should do. I think we should give the Packers 9, the Colts 10, bump everybody else up, and take the Lions off the list.
Okay.
The Lions at 7 and 5, like I think you just overlooked the fact that they lost. I think you thought they were on a bye.
I did overlook the fact,
and you didn't want to knock them all the way down
because they were on. I think it was because they were on that Thursday night. You know.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose to the Cowboys, you won't have to put them back in for the rest of the season. Campbell being the play caller, it's weird. I don't like it. They lost 2 good coordinators, man. Like, I know that they've looked good at times over the course of the season, but don't you think the best offensive plays look like they came from the playbook that Ben Johnson left behind? Like, I mean, geez, it's sort of seeming that way, in my opinion. So I think you lose the Lions, you make the Seahawks 7, the Jags 8, probably the Colts 9, and the Packers 10. That's what I think we should do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm with that.
All right, cool.
And the Cowboys are right on the outside,
on the bubble.
peeking in.
On the bubble.
If they win, if they beat the Lions, they're in.
Yeah, they're like when you really have to poop. They're just like a little
prairie dogging it,
poking out. Okay, I think we should. Let's see: Seahawks, Bills, Niners, Rams, Broncos, Bears, Pats.
Little shout out to the Jags too for going from cross off to.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jacksonville.
To power rankings. Yeah,
I know nobody from Jacksonville is listening to this because you guys don't watch football, at least in professional football. So no problem. Sorry, London. Apologies to London for doing that to your Jaguars. I'm really sorry about that, or perhaps Toronto. Sorry about that. Our bad. We shouldn't have crossed them off. I let Mike get to me. I've been drinking. Apologies. Here's the thing. I really want to talk about the Bears. Like, I don't want to wait anymore.
We talk about the Bears.
I think we didn't talk about the Patriots last week.
They jumped the Broncos.
Which is cool.
You know that?
The Broncos look pretty good. I just don't think the quarterback play from the Broncos is going to get them to the promised land. This was my
rationale behind it. So before that, so the Bills are 6, Niners are 5, and the Rams dropped to 4. I think it's
that was a bad loss.
It was a really bad loss. I think it's clear to me, if you look at those teams, right, the Rams were unquestionably, besides the Pats, the best out of that group coming into last week.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at that loss and the way they looked, the Bears, from just a eye test perspective, in their wins and in this streak, I know the Broncos are on this streak too, but the Broncos have squeaked out a lot of games and have looked like shit at times during some of those games. They've looked great at some of those times, but they've looked like shit multiple times. The Bears, in my opinion, have put together week in and week out 60 minutes of solid football. Like, they just beat the Eagles, and it was convincingly from beginning to end. Like you said, they beat the shit out of them.
No, they did.
And it's not.
It was probably their most convincing win of the season against their best opponent.
And if you would expect the Bears to be on this run with Ben Johnson as the coach, you would expect it to be like this high-flying offense or like something like that, but it's not. It's just grinding out and winning football games any way that you can. Like this past week, Caleb looked like shit. What did they do? They came out and had 200-yard rushes.
Yeah.
So it's just.
I mean, it was all the offensive line. Obviously, the big thing that we saw was that offensive line really arrived. Like, their scheming's there. There's a unit. Offensive line coaching gets a shout out. The way that they're able to climb the ladder, run scheme wise, I think Kyle Monangai is great. I think it is hilarious and fun that he has the best stats of any running back from his class, which was by all accounts the most stacked running back class of the last 10 years, and he got picked in the 7th round. So I think it's kind of cool that he has the best numbers in that regard. I think Swift has been good. Obviously, it's all really been the offensive line. Like, I'm looking at that offensive line and the way it's schemed. You could put Saquon Barkley behind that offensive line now, and he would have the season that he had last season. Like, I'm 100% sure of it. Some of the green grass that those two didn't hit It was a sight to behold. It's like half the time, an guy, I think he was running behind this horrific Rutgers offensive line last year, and he still had over 1,000 yards. And then they were still terrible the year before that, and he still had over 1,000 yards. So I don't know why everybody overlooked Kyle Monangai. He's a great runner. He's got great vision. He hits it. He hits a hole. His open field vision. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. His open field vision, I think, needs a little bit of work because there's been a couple of times where I'm like, Kyle, just keep running in that direction. Please, for the love of God, you'll score a touchdown. Swift goes through the same thing. Swift is really great at like getting a guy in the open field. His vision sometimes in the early holes, I'm like, dude, it's there. Hurry up. But I think he's starting to trust the offensive line ahead of him a little bit more now. And I think the scheming's there. So I think he's just starting to learn where the holes are going to be and what the blocking's supposed to look like. And it's all starting to look on purpose. The Bears offense.
When Swift is good running, when Swift is good blocking, yes. he's such a better runner. And it's like night and day when he has
he's not really like for after contact guy. You know, he needs to be running into hole. He's a little bit of a luxury runner. But I think Monangai's really given him that kind of bell cow foil situation where it's like he can run through contact. He gets really, really, really low. He's hard to tackle when everybody's getting stood up on the line. It's probably going to have to be a linebacker that gets him. And then it's like, does he just go underneath the linebacker if the linebacker's flying in to fill the hole with some hurt? So you see all this happen out. Like you're looking at these schemes, tons of pre-snap motion. The tight end's coming over here. It's a 3 wide receiver set. Oh no, it isn't. The wide receiver's coming down. Now he's lined up in the backfield. Oh, now we have to worry. It's DJ Moore. Is he actually going to get a handoff now, or is it going to be one of those little weird end arounds they've been doing that have been working? Luther Burden might come back. Oh, the guard is going to pull over to the left. All the linebackers go to the left. Oh shit! Why aren't we reading the A gap zone? Calvin Unguy's in the A gap zone over on the other side. It's all trickery. It's all to make it look like something else is happening. And it's what you saw Ben Johnson do in Detroit. And it's so it wasn't just the trick plays, you know, like there's a really well schemed offense in Detroit for the last few years. It's not like he's just going to become a head coach and forget how to do that. The thing you ask for is that he can also do the job of a head coach, which is be a leader of men. I mean, I know it sounds like a cliche, but be a leader of men, inspire the players to play, make them feel good about themselves, coach them and put them in positions to succeed. And quite frankly, you watch any of these locker room videos, the Bears are 100% winning the locker room videos of sweepstakes this year with good, better, best, him taking his shirt off so the city of Chicago gets free hot dogs. The locker room the vibes were immaculate on Sunday after beating the Eagles. And I got to say, Bobby, like, I know I've been really, really reserved, and it's because you've witnessed the heartbreak that I've gone through with this team when I've started to believe at different points and gotten too carried away. If we beat the Packers on Sunday, I mean, I don't think we're gonna. I'll put it to you this way. I don't think we're gonna. I think we're gonna go to Lambeau and lose, and I don't think it's gonna be that big of a deal. I still think I'm gonna essentially in my head be in the same place. Am I gonna have to hear it from like the Packers contingency of the NFC North me more? Yes, but if we beat them, if we go to Lambeau and beat them, I think I have championship aspirations.
I don't blame you. That'd be a big win in Lambeau after years of
getting better and better every week. The most parity-filled season in the NFL we've seen in the last 7 years gives us an opportunity for someone you wouldn't expect to win. I'm starting to feel it. I'm starting to feel it. I don't know. I mean, it would be pretty sick, right? You know what the sickest thing about that would be? I mean, obviously winning the Super Bowl would be sick, but winning it and getting it out of the way for Caleb would be just the craziest thing. Like to just get it out of the way, right? Where it's like, no pressure, buddy. You know, now you can just be you. You already got a title to your name. Like, no, I mean, how many are you going to win? You want to win 10? You know, it's like... do you remember when he was on, I think it was like Barstool or something, and they were like, if you had the ability to press a button and one random Chicago Bears fans just dies, but you get 10 Super Bowls, would you do it? And he was like, yeah. I was like, yeah. I was like, it can be me. It could like, I mean, we'd all sign up for that, for the love of God. 10 Super Bowls? How could you say no to that? Just to be a utilitarian for the rest of the fan base. But listen, I mean, I'm incredibly
as long as they all come plant flags on my grave when they win.
Yeah, for real. I just want like my jersey to be retired at that point, you know, because it really was me. I died for the cause. But Yeah, I mean, I still think that's pretty unrealistic. But if we do beat the Packers, it's going to be hard for me to contain myself. I'm going to be real with you. It's going to be really hard for me to contain myself.
Yeah, it's funny, everyone. So we've been all talking about these Bears. He's like, nothing to see here, nothing to see here. And then the Rams lost this past weekend. I was like, bro, you can't hide anymore. You can't hide as the 1 seed in the NFC,
I
bro. You
want to
can't
hide,
do
dude,
it.
because it's
You
so
can't hide.
scary.
You're the 1 seed, man.
Yeah, for now. I mean, we're not even
They
like
do have the
we're
hardest
still not even
schedule down the stretch. Literally the hardest schedule in the league down
Yeah.
the stretch. So
And we're not even favored to win our division still. Like, we're not even favored to win because the Packers are half a game back, dude, because of that tie. Like, that's it. Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, we could conceivably still come third in the division if we lose out. It's possible. So I'm not counting my chickens here, but if we do beat the Packers, I might start to go, because like, you know me, like, like past few seasons, like, there's been times where I'm like, I watched Hard Knocks, like it got in my head. Like I really like, I think this team is special. I think there's some really good guys. I like the roster a lot. Like I don't even do that much to it in Madden when I play as the Bears. Like when I do the franchise mode, there's not that many changes to make, Like I think we've got our guy at quarterback and he's getting better and better. But this season, I've been doing nothing but being completely like just pat down expectations every single chance I get. Just like, no, I'm not going to get hurt again. I'm not going to fall from the highest of heights. If I stay grounded, then it won't be a massive catastrophe when they start to show cracks again, because that's what they've done over the last few years. But damn, if Ben Johnson doesn't have me ready to run through a fucking brick wall for him at this point. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to contain. It's hard to keep the excitement down at this point. I'm trying to, but man, if we beat the Packers, the lid might come off this bitch. I might just start talking shit. I might just start being like, well, who's better than the fucking Bears? Like, look at who we beat. Quite frankly, we've beaten better teams than the Pats have. We're still 2 to them on the power rankings. Do you want to talk about it in their context? Like, you genuinely believe the Patriots are better than the Bears right now? With all those
they're just there. They're just there. You know what I mean? They've been number 1 for a few weeks now. So we've set the precedent. We can't move them off the top spot after winning. How many games in a row the Pats won now? 9?
Yeah, but they hadn't actually played at time of making the PR, to be fair. Like they're about to kick off, or they just kicked off like a minute ago against the Giants.
They're already in the red zone, so
yeah. Okay. Never mind then. I was about to make a case that they could lose to the Giants. I kind of alluded to it earlier, but yeah.
I already got a notification that, because fantasy gives you that red zone notification. Yeah, I already got that red zone notification like twice. I was like,
who do you have on the pass?
I think it was on 2 different. One was Hunter Henry, who's having a pretty good year, and the other was Diggs.
Mm-hmm. Not bad.
Yeah.
Oh, they've already got 3 points, and they're in the red zone then, or did they have to kick?
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Here's the deal. They're playing the Giants. They should win that game. We'll see how it goes. Bears Pats Super Bowl?
That'd be wild.
Who says no?
That'd be crazy. Bears Cowboys NFC Championship game?
That might tear us apart, Bob. I'm constantly cheering for you, and you're constantly cheering for me because we go through it so much. I mean, what humans would we be? Like, what people would we be if our teams were legitimately good enough to be in the NFC Championship game? We might be way worse people. Think about how the Pats fans in your life are. I wouldn't want to act like that. So imagine if we find success, do we just become that insufferable?
I would never. I've never. Maybe after 25 years of it.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen too much. My expectations are at all-time low at all times.
How about the Cowboys might actually, so not to go back to the Cowboys, but the Cowboys might actually have a chance here to win this fucking division. Can we talk about that real quick?
Sure.
I think that's a real possibility, bro.
Yeah. Let's end on that because I want to go watch this game. Talk to me about it. How do the Cowboys win this division? The Eagles have to lose out. So let me pull up the Eagles schedule. You pull up the Cowboys.
It's only
schedule.
a game and a half right now. It's a game and a half.
Right, because of that weird tie. You actually get you seem to actually. This is the first year I've had to figure this out. You seem to actually benefit from tying. You get a half a game towards your win total in your division.
It's like a win. Yeah, it's like a win.
I think
it's like a half a win.
I think it should be a loss and a half if you tie. I think it should count as a loss and a half. It should count for more than a loss if you tie, in my opinion. But because it's just so egregious in football. But pull up the Cowboys schedule, last 5 games. I got the Eagles schedule in front of me. The Eagles are probably going to have to lose 3 games of their next 5 for you guys to win the division. Let's see if we can find those 3 games. They're going to play the Chargers. I'll say that's their first loss. Then they're going to play the Raiders. They're going to win that game.
The way they're playing right now, I'm with that.
They beat the Raiders because everybody beats the Raiders. Then it's Commanders, Bills, Commanders. All they have to do is lose to the Bills and split with the Commanders and you guys. All right, who are you playing? Let's see. You guys have to
we
win.
got the Lions. We got the Lions this week on
Gotta
Thursday
win that.
night.
Gotta win that.
But it's the best time to play the Lions. Worst time to play
if the Eagles beat the Chargers and the Lions beat the Cowboys, the playoff chances are over. The divisional win chances are definitely over, but I think the playoff chances are probably over too. But all right, let's keep going.
Then it's on a long rest, so then it's like a mini bye week. So we do the double Thursday to Thursday.
That's good, perfect timing.
And then we go
all these games are prime time too, which is crazy.
Yeah, so then we go December 14, Vikings win.
Yep.
Then we are the Chargers.
You might lose that, but you got to win it. So win.
So then it's the Commanders back to prime time on Christmas Day.
Commanders looked like more able last night than like I would have thought after having this conversation. I have them splitting with the Eagles. If you lose to the Commanders, they have to beat the Eagles twice also for this to be feasible.
So, but we give them a win there. So we'll say we lose to the Chargers, but beat the Commanders.
Okay.
And then beat the Giants week 18.
So you're saying you can go 4 out of 5 and win your division?
Yeah, 4 out of 5. Because then we finish at 9-6-1. And the Eagles, if they drop 4 out of 5, we win by a half a game.
Right, because then they're 9-8.
Right, 9-8.
And you're 9-6 what the fuck? God,
no. Then we're 10-6-1.
10-6-1. 10-6-1 wins you the division, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you can afford one more loss. What if you tie again? Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I don't. It looks a lot more likely than it did 2 weeks ago. Let me put it to you that way. So I don't think I wouldn't bet on it, but it's not completely out of the realm of possibility. And then we have to start really having a conversation about what the Cowboys can do in the playoffs, because that offense does look pretty legit.
George Pickens, top 5 wide receiver in the league right now.
We did put Dak as a top 3 QB in 2025. We did say it here on this podcast with our chests. I suggested it. It wasn't even the Cowboys fan. All right. Well, next week I'm planning, and this is just because I don't feel like it, but next week I was planning on talking a little bit more about the Seahawks because they are genuinely entering the conversation now at this point. Let's give them one more week to see it. The Bills, I mean, they went out there and smacked the Steelers, but it felt like more of a Steelers conversation, to be honest with you. The Steelers just looked really bad. That's one of the worst offenses I've ever seen, again, which is nice for me because Aaron Rodgers runs it. He fell on his hand. He just looked every day his age in that game, whatever. So the Rams, I mean, I would have had a lot more to say about the Rams had they won again. I was gearing up to talk about how they're the best offense in the NFL, and then they had that shock L to the Panthers. So we're going to have to give that a week. The Broncos, game of the season, taught me a lot about who they are. I think they're for real. I think they're going to be hard to beat. They're a nightmare matchup in the playoffs for anybody in their conference. We talked about the Bears. Should we touch on the Pats or should we save it because they haven't actually played their game yet? Nah, let's save it.
Yeah, we can save it. Yeah, listen, the Pats are really good. We know what the Pats are. They're a very, very well-coached team with a top 3 quarterback in the league right now. And every single week they're going to show up and play 60 minutes of good football. They're not going to shit the bed pretty much any week. If you're going to beat the Pats, you have to come out and actually fucking beat them. Yeah. Which in today's NFL is like a pretty prized possession to fucking have. Considering what we see every Sunday. So
100%.
Yeah, so that's why I just think you can't move them off the top spot until they show that's the case. Because that's
weird because they're not gonna really, are they? Like if they have teams that they seem to be able to beat in front of them for the remainder of the season. Like the only thing I can see happening is once we move on to the sort of playoff show. You know, if they get found out right away in their first game. I was gonna say the first round, but they're not gonna play in the first round. If they get found out right away, it's a larger conversation that we'll have to have with the Patriots fans on this podcast. But that's honestly kind of it's weird not to talk about the number 1 team. Next week we're going to start playing the playoff game. You know, where we do NFC versus AFC in the top 10 of the power rankings to see who we actually really believe. Question the efficacy of ranking them in the regular season, because who we really believe is going to win a playoff matchup really is what starts to count down the stretch. But realistically, I can just see the Pats kind of not being a real conversation until they A, lose a game to a team they shouldn't, or B, they're in the playoffs and we're talking about who they're matched up against. So that's been the power rankings, everybody. I'm really excited for Bears-Packers this week, and honestly, I might dedicate the whole show to the Bears next week if they win with a Cowboys section if they beat the Lions as a thank you.
MTP Chicago first.
MTP Chicago is here to stay.
Yeah.
We should have all the major hubs, don't you think? If you could do me a favor and beat the Lions, that would be really awesome. Pay me back for beating the Eagles and the Commanders.
Yeah, I got you. That's the plan.
Appreciate it. And thanks for being an above 500 team that the Bears beat. We need more of those around. The Steelers seem to want to take a nosedive off a cliff, so let's see. All right, for myself, DK Sizzle, for the real BK Bob Kelly, this has been the Power Rankings. I'm missing the point. And this is a guy that just loves to end a show abruptly.